Okay, welcome back. In this video, we are going to talk about ideas for how to share the gospel. Some different places that you'd really want to be able to try to break those 4 sound barriers. So one is events that either you set up or events that are already set up. And you can, it could be as simple as church, because oftentimes you think everybody there is already Christian, but sometimes not. I remember one time somebody came to visit who sat behind me, and I turned around and started talking to her, and it would be so easy to assume, like, oh, she came to church. Of course she knows Jesus. But I just asked her where she's at. Like, is this, I can't even remember what I asked, but probably used my questions and got to walk through the whole gospel with her, and she gave her life to Christ right there in church, all right? So that's one place. You could also do maybe sporting events or different events going on in the community where you just are there because there's a whole mass of people that you've never met before. Because oftentimes as Christians, we tend to just surround ourselves with only Christians. And it is good when we have our closest people, our best friends and our closest friends in life to be Christians, because iron sharpens iron, and you become like who you spend the most time with. But if those are the only people, then how is the Great Commission going to move forward? Because we're not actually going to share the gospel with anybody if we don't know them. So going to some place where you don't know people, you have to just initiate talking to them, all right? Just take it one step at a time, just talking, trying a little question to transition into spiritual conversation. See are they receptive? Are they open to talk about this or not? Then just move on to the next, try to share the gospel, see if they're interested, like, would you want to hear this? If so, keep going, just take initiative by the power of the Holy Spirit and leave the results up to God. So events is a place where you'd be able to get into spiritual conversations. It could be an irregular event. Like if you want to join some sort of community thing, it could be a sports team, or it could be knitting club, or it could be gardening club or something, as a way to have regular interaction with non-believers. But it doesn't have to be. You could also just put it in your schedule, every Saturday or one Saturday a month or something, you're going to go and you're going to just walk around town and try to start conversations with people. Or you could set up a table somewhere at a park or at a library, or, different things. You have to just brainstorm and with Christ on the throne say, God, how can I get into conversation with more people that don't know you? It could be also online on Facebook or someplace where you can initiate with people, like message someone and say, hey, I've been thinking about you. How's your life? And initiate breaking the sound barriers that way. So there's lots of different places where you can try to share the gospel. If there's not events that are real conducive to conversation, maybe start one. You can do there's things like you could do a jewelry party, Women on Mission or Women at Risk. They will send you all this jewelry that people who have been rescued out of the trafficking have made, and you do a party, and you can use that and share the gospel in there somehow. Or you can have invite people over for dinner, which is huge, to invite people into your life. They get to see life, things aren't perfect. Your house isn't perfectly tidy, but you love them anyway, and you invited them into your mess, and you can share the gospel that way. Huge way. You can invite people out for lunch or to coffee. You can basically any way you can think of just to get into spiritual conversation. If life is busy, you can invite them to go grocery shopping with you, or to the post office with you, or just, to run errands, or go to the playground. If you have small kids, invite them to go with you. There's lots of ideas. So those are just some to get you thinking, but you want to think through what are ways that you can actually start conversations with people. Because if we don't, then it's not going to happen. It doesn't just naturally happen. So you have to actually try to think through, when am I going to actually share the gospel with people? All right.